We have
So there are things that I think we can do, but first we have to secure the streets in our cities.
we have several calls waiting for you. We go to Renee, Madison, Wisconsin, on the Republican line. Go ahead.
Mr. Reed, considering that Donald Trump has basically it's publicly known that he paid off prostitutes and porn stars, as working on his third wife, was cheating on his wife while his third wife was pregnant, and all the other moral ineptitudes that he's committed, his inaction on the COVID-19 virus, his recommending bleach and other things used on the human body, his just utter chaos in office, his recent comments about the military. How in good conscience could you support a person like this? Mr. Reed, you're the political opportunist of the first order, and just like how the moneylenders were shoved out of the temple by Jesus Christ, you should be too. Thank you.
Well, I'll leave aside the personal attack on me. I would just say I don't know if you're a Christian or not, or a professing believer, but I think the arguments that you just made about Donald Trump are not only consistent with the gospel that Jesus preached when he was here on earth and taught. I think it's the very opposite. He didn't condemn people who were sinners and had led imperfect lives. He wasn't like the Pharisees seeking to stone and smear sinners who had led imperfect lives and had made terrible mistakes. Remember, I'm not going to preach this morning, but one of my favorite scenes in the gospel is when he's with the woman at the well, and she's a Samaritan. So you have to remember, in the context of ancient Judea, she was of a mixed race. So there was a racial division between the Jews and her. And she was living with a man who was not her husband. She had been married 5 times before, not 3 times like you said, 5 times. And it was generally not considered appropriate and beneath the dignity of a Jew to associate with a Samaritan, and for a man to be engaged in conversation with a woman of her reputation. And Jesus didn't mistreat her at all. He engaged her in a conversation. He not only turned her life around, but she went back to her village, convinced him to stay, and many more came to Christ. So what the implication of the caller is that because somebody's made mistakes in their past, that I am supposed to, as a Christian, exclude them from ever being of service again. That's not what the gospel teaches. It teaches the exact opposite. And thank goodness, because I'm a sinner saved by grace. I'm not here this morning saying I'm perfect or I haven't made mistakes. I'm saying I serve a perfect Lord. And it's about him. It's not about a religion. It's about a relationship with a Savior who forgave me and can forgive you. And yes, he can forgive Donald Trump. And I would just say real quickly, I address all of this in my book. You know, I'm not unfamiliar with this smear and this charge. You know, well, you guys are hypocrites because you supported a man who's been married and you know, these other personal allegations they throw up. Well, first of all, in the 90s, when I was at the Christian Coalition, I said that the people who said that about Bill Clinton were not acting in a way that was consistent with the gospel. I said that if Bill Clinton is a sinner, then he's no worse or no better than me or you. So I've been consistent on this, and I address it all in the book, and I explain why the caller's wrong and why